It's all gone. Yeah, look, I moved room. Look, I moved. Still got my cup of coffee. Still got the same shirt on. But I've got. Yeah, I'm wiggling in my nose. Is that a problem? This stall of opticians, right? Go below your nose and go wipe you need to kick up the arse. Yeah, all you politicians out there, you need to kick up the arse. I just realised I'm sick of it. Pauline Hanson, she had the right idea. She called One Nation Party. This is a bit of a political video, right? But it's about trains. It's about jobs. It's about getting trains back on our tracks. You know what makes me absolutely sick? Doing the stuff I do. I travelled all over the state of New South Wales. And it makes me absolutely sick to see 27 unused, disused, 26 disused road lines. North Star come back into operation, right? Because they built a road line from Melbourne to Brisbane. I get people ringing me up. You heard it on a live stream. You heard it on a live chat. The phone kept ringing in the bedroom. I didn't want to go answer it. I know who it was, right? They're upset because the state government under Gladys Berejiklian, Mother Goose, sorry, I'm going to be, yeah, to me, she's a goose. See, I don't care who signs the paperwork. As the judge says in a courtroom, if you are on the board of directors, you are responsible for your company. So the Premier is responsible for the whole state. I don't care about Liberals, Labor, Greens, Sex Party, Tree Huggers, Guns and Shooters Party. It's one big problem. All you politicians don't get it. You're all in a stew pot. And like a stew, you can't see through it. But we, the poor underdogs, the poor pensioners, the poor people of the New South Wales regional, and now the poor people of Marrickville are now losing their jobs and their businesses. And you say, oh, what are you talking about? Where did it go? I lost it. I've got to find it. I just moved the camera around. Hang on. Yeah, it's about it. Look. Found it. Sitting on a black thing, I couldn't say it. Right. This is now what's happening at Marrickville. I said this to people 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when Gladys Berejiklian became the Transport Minister. And she said, I'm going to build a driverless train out there near Schofields. It's not going to interfere with anybody. Lied. She built it up to Epping. And everybody thought, oh, yeah, that's going to be the end of it. It's going to run up and down. And then next thing you know, all the people between Epping and Chatswood going out to Top Ryde, after waiting 40 years to get a rail service, I mean, a proper train where you sit forward like I'm looking at you, Chatswood to Epping and back around the circle, as we call it. She comes in there and she, I'll take that, puts in a driverless train. Now she's, I'll take that, I'm down to North Sydney. I'll take that, I'm going underneath the Harbour Bridge. I'll take that, I've gone down through Central. I'll take that, now I've gone right down there to Sydenham. Now check this out. People didn't want to believe me. This is Marrickville. Now this is a guy called Paul.
Step-free access to platform 2 and is very close to the footbridge and lift for access to platform 1.
Looks very nice.
All the facilities here, such as kiss and ride, bicycle parking and accessible parking space as part of Sydney Metro.
Sydney Metro.
These buildings on the opposite side of Station Street make a stark contrast to the modern station entrance. The current plan is for these to be demolished and replaced with 2 commercial spaces and a 6-storey boarding house. It looks like the track, sleepers and ballast have been replaced relatively recently. I think it was before the 2-week shutdown at the end of June 2021, but I'm not sure. If you know when this happened, please let us all know in the comments.
Thanks, Paul. Can you see what's going to happen? Exactly what I said. The news footage shows the Prime Minister standing out there at the international airport, and he says it's going to be a rail service. And what do they stick in? The driverless train tram. T-R-A-M. It's a tram. It's not a train, it's a tram. You're going to give up a nice, comfortable thing like that from Sydney Domestic Airport, and you're going to be welcoming visitors at the New Badgerys Creek train station with a tram? Oh, God. Are we in Australia? Or are we in a third world country? Now, where does the driverless train come from? India. Who conquered India? Britain. So therefore, then the British, when they finally got kicked out, they set a little problem in motion, Britain. That gave the British could go to India, but it also opened the door for Indians to go to Britain. Now, Britain's paying the price because they say, oh, there's certain areas in Britain is covered in Indians from India, which also means because we're under the Commonwealth, they're allowed to come out here too. I like Indian people. Don't get me wrong. I like your food. But so much, you know, just so much. Ease up. So this is not your fault, India or Indian people. Gladys says, oh, they're part of the Commonwealth. We'll go buy a train from India. Australia can't make trains. We used to make trains. Why do you think we had a train driver strike? And all these good-looking trains were off the train tracks. Because that was made in China. Why were they made in China? Why couldn't we make any trains? Because the New South Wales government under the Liberals 30, 40 years ago, Everly, which my little mate was talking about there last night on live stream, I used to go in there and we used to make all our own trains. We used to make our own trains up there at Broadmeadow. No, but Liberal government, New South Wales government, even under Labor, some of the Labor politicians wouldn't support it. Nah, let's just buy it overseas. We'll go employ people in another country to build our rail service. And that's why the train drivers went on strike. So, what the hell do we do about it? Do we go on strike? Does it get us anywhere? Did it get the train drivers anywhere? They get a bit of paper? It's better useful as that. I'll tell you that now. Because in 1978, well, I worked on the railways. They turned around and they said, oh, no. The union said this, the union said that. It's It's never going to happen. We're never going to let the railways take away your jobs. Joke. Now I go down to St Mary's. There's a good shed down there where I used to work. It's now been closed down for 30 years. I'll never lose my job. I'll show you. My problems. There you go. Riverstone, St Mary's, and I finally resigned at King's Cross. Sydney Metropolitan, St Mary's train station, and Riverstone. You know how many people we used to have at Riverstone? We had a station master, 4 ASMs to rotate the rosters, 3 station assistants, head station assistants to sell the tickets, me the junior, go and clean the toilets, and Bobby Green, the shutter, who's now passed away. Les Doughton was the station master, now passed away. Neville Farlow, ASM, now passed away. Laurie King, ASM, now passed away, asbestosis. And from the stress of the job, emphysema. And Riverstone Meat Company at Riverstone had all that ground out there at Riverstone. And what's all got to do with this political thing? This is it, the changing of time. Riverstone Meat Company was the biggest meat producer. I can show you a video of Riverstone meat truck coming out of David Jones in the city of Market Street. Get that one. Right? It's David Jones building, right? Well, some of them near there. It's a big red truck. It's a Riverstone Meat Company. But now, you know where that meat come from? Tenterfield. Everybody watching this video from Sydney, I said, where the hell's Tenterfield? So that's what I mean. Majority of people in New South Wales and Sydney metropolitan area, if we put a wall, a barrier, and try and think about this, people, really get this in your brain, right? You are what we call concrete children. And then we had the country cousins out in the country. Now, let's say, for example, we put a concrete wall to stop all rail freight, all cars from going past Katoomba, going past Campbelltown, going past Waterfall, right, and any other road, M1 past Mount White, and you couldn't get your food delivered, what's going to happen to you? And the Bells Line Road and the Putty Road, you really want to be smart, I can name them all for you. Pacific Highway, the old Pacific Highway, the Putty Road, the Bells Line Road, the Great Western Highway, the Hume Highway, the back roads out through the back of Picton, and then all the way down to the south, right across over there to the Princess Highway. They go down the Illawarra. Now, Sydney would say, there's a blockade. How long would you last? How long would you last without your lamb, your beef, your flour, your sugar, your milk, all that makes bread, makes stew, or your barbecue, or your sausages, your gas? Turn the tap off up there at Lithgow. You know where your LPG gas comes from in Sydney in your kitchen? You know when you turn your gas stove on in Sydney, you know where it comes from? West Australia. Yeah, you didn't know that, did you? Right, big long pipeline that follows the railway line. See, you all think you're smart, but you're not. Sydney people are dumb. You're concrete children. You're brought up in a world You're born and raised in concrete. You go to school in concrete. You go live in high-rise buildings. I asked a kid, say for example, if I asked a kid 10 years ago, where does milk come from? The kids would say, oh, the corner shop out of a carton. And if I asked a kid 30 years ago, where's milk come from? They'd say cow. Now, if I said to you, right, say it out to me, milk, 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 milk. Go on, say it. What do cows drink? Water. You're going to say milk, aren't you? That's an old country joke, because that's our country joke on city people. That's how much you know. Gladys Berejiklian and the current Transport Ministry is spending all their money on Sydney trains. Now they're going to transform Marrickville. Now they're going to rip up St Mary's, and they're taking away Coles Supermarket. A lot of people are heartbroken about it because they love it. It's right next to the train station. They've got the little bus stop. And because all this international airport's going to be built out of Batteries Creek, which everybody jumped up and down about, and nobody did nothing. We've only got ourselves to blame. We really do. We did nothing. What's another one they did? Under the Liberal federal government, they want to move the M5 motorway. And my family members took the federal government to court. And all the protesters, hundreds of protesters. One of my family members was leading the charge against New South Wales, the federal government, against a federal Liberal at Penrith, all because he signed a little piece of paper. Right? And they're going to bulldoze my brother's house. They're going to flatten it. He built with his own two hands. And it's not a fibro shed. It's like a bloody mansion. It's beautiful. Antique timbers, antique windows. But I'm not going to say anything where it is. That's his privacy. What both our New South Wales governments, Liberal and Labor, and all the other, let's slap on, hey, I become a politician. I'm going to get a good pay packet out of this. And they reckon they go and do their job. No. No, you haven't. The day they sacked the New South Wales Railway Commissioner is when New South Wales Railway went down the gurgler. And there's a lovely bloke, and he's done all the stuff on trains. Now, he's traveled the world. He's been to Mexico, Ecuador, Peru, USA, Southeast Asia on trains. He helped build the Casino Mini Light Rail, little train tracks that go around a casino, an old casino train station. And now he's up there at Byron Bay. Now, one of his YouTube ones is, when I can find it, I'm looking at a TV screen and I've got to go down through all these things. Yesteryear remembered AVI. Right. Where is it? Oh, that's it. Second. Right. Anybody heard about Moolumbar? I've just been on about Moolumbar. Right. Now, I'm the guy that done all the disused railway line for what they call Rail Access Corporation way back in 1995. And they were just formed after State Rail said, you've got to split it all up again. You're going to be called Rail Access Corporation. You are going to be in charge of all the train tracks. So everybody comes along and says, here's my dollar. For every kilometre I drive my train on your track. It's like pay as you go. Didn't work. Now they changed it. They got rid of that. They brought in ARTC, Australian Rail Track Control, federally funded. And then they chopped that off, and then they send it over, some over to John Holland, and chop a bit more off, and send that over another group. Along come Gladys and said, hey, listen, we'll chop a bit more off here, take a few more slices. We'll go give Wagga Wagga Tumbarumba to Tumbarumba City Council. And then we'll go give Cootamundra to Gundagai, to the council down there if they want it. But they didn't really. Tumbarumba did it. It's down on my YouTube channel. Rail fail. Right? You see the same guy 3 to 4 times on a push bike in the same video clip. And the woman in the shop, she turns around and says, oh, people come here to see Tumbarumba and the sights of Tumbarumba, not just the rail trail. This is a citizen in Tumbarumba. She told the truth. You're not going to get your car and drive 400 miles to get in and see a rail trail. Now what are they doing? Moolumbar. Anybody been up to Moolumbar? Right, let's have a look at Moolumbar. This is what used to go to Moolumbar. We used to go up there by locomotive with a dining car, sleeping berths, car carrying carriages, so you can get tired. Wait a minute, we've got motorways up there now. Where'd all that come from? That come from the Liberals. Nick Groiner. Go look him up. Hang on a sec. Let's go and read out Nick Groiner's portfolio. People say, you're always on about this poor Nick Groiner, the poor politician. Right? We're going to Google Nick Groiner. You can do this at home. But for all the old people, they can't use a mobile phone. Right? NickGriner. Nick Groiner. Nick Griner's got a book out for $102.59 at Dimmicks. Nick Griner's years in power and his demise. Have a look. Read it yourself. There's Nick Griner. That's him. That's the bloke. What's this book? Let's read the heading so I can clearly see it. I'm going to read it word for word. An act of corruption. Nick Griner's years in power and his unorthodox demise by Gleeson Michael, Alan Tony, and Wilkins and Michael. Paperback, very good condition. An act of corruption. Well, read it yourself, Liberals. Big boyfriend Nick Griner. He's the one who destroyed the railways. Now, what did he do? Okay, let's look at Nick Griner's political history. This is not an attack on the Liberals now. This is an attack on Nick Griner himself. Nick Griner. Stupid phone. Politician. Nick Greiner, Wikipedia. Stupid thing, it's not working. Got to clear it. Right, what he did, he left politics, and then he went out and he got a job. Nick Greiner, former New South Wales Premier. Here he is. Lovely looking bloke now, isn't he? Looks well, doesn't he? Look at the amount of money he's got. You know where he is now? The Australian consulate in New York, our ambassador. Nicholas Frank Hugo Greiner, AC, is an Australian politician who served as the 37th Premier of New South Wales from 1988 to 1992, was the leader of the New South Wales Divisional Liberal Party from 1983 to 1992, and the leader of the opposition from 1983 to 1988. 74 years old, blah, blah, blah. Previous officers, Premier of New South Wales, 1988 and 1992. Then you've got to push the more button, right? Greiner and Treasurer of New South Wales. World leader in public sector reform. Yeah, so they call it reform. Yeah. Former New South Wales Premier Nick Greiner takes Manhattan. Unbelievable. Let's look up his jobs. Consulate General to New York, United States, Australian Consulate General, New York, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. I was the chairman of Infrastructure New South Wales. Now, this is going to be it. You're going to love this one. You ready for it? Here it comes. Nick Greiner. Right. Engage in business and financial leaders in New York and USA Northeast and states to promote Australia's strength as a trade investment partner. I'm responsible for pursuing Australia's interests with federal, state, local government, representative region, and maintaining these important relationships in support of Australian United States Alliance. I also promote Australia's innovative and world-class creative industries, education, research, and opportunities. United States is Australia's largest two-way investment partner and the second largest paying goods and service, blah, 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 42 billion in 2005 when Australia and United States free trade agreement to $81 billion in 2019. The two-way investment by tripled since 2005. I was Premier and Treasurer of New South Wales, Australia's largest state from 1998 to 1992, federal president of the Liberal Party of Australia from 2017 to 2020. I was also Minister of Ethnic Affairs and Aboriginal Affairs. And doesn't that mean they got him out of the spotlight? Isn't that the portfolio when you want to get rid of a politician? You push him over to Aboriginal Affairs and Ethnic Affairs, so he's not in the spotlight. He's not in transport. He's not in development. He's not even bringing in money in the country. Ethnic Affairs is people that are trying to get a passport. And Aboriginal Affairs, poor Aboriginals saying, oh, we need money. He's a perfect guy. He's a cutter, right? That's what he does. He cuts things. Over the last 30 years, he held various roles, including Chairman and Deputy Chairman of Harper & Row Australia, British American Tobacco Australia, Bradken Citigroup Australia, Coles Myer Limited, Rothschild Australia, Stockland Trust, QBE Insurance, Castle Harlan, Australian Mezzanine, to name just a few. I was the chairman of Infrastructure New South Wales and European and Business Council. In sport, I was the president of the 2000 bid Olympic company and director of the organising committee, president of both Squash and Soccer Australia. That's very impressive. Advisory roles have also included McKinsey's public sector group, reviews of GST distribution and regulatory reform for the federal and New South Wales government, respectively. Deloitte, governor of CEDA, Committee of Economic Development of Australia, and director of the Sydney Theatre Company Foundation. Man, when does a guy ever go to the bathroom? In the Queen's Birthday Honours list of 1994, I was awarded the Companion of the Order of Australia for Public Sector and blah, 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 and economics and blah, 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 goes on, goes on, goes on. You know what it doesn't tell you? And I'm trying to find it. Chairman of Rothschild Australia, right? CPE Capital, Australian Aussie stuff. Yeah, so what? You know what he was also on? He's on the board of directors of major infrastructure. That's right. He got rid of the railways, and then he sat on the board of that very famous road construction company you see all around Sydney. The ones that built the tunnel from Woolloomooloo out to Darlinghurst. That's one of them. He was on that one, right? He's in all infrastructure, which is cars, people. Cars, not trains, cars. Nick Greiner wants cars. He's not a Greenpeace. He doesn't believe in bulk moving, right? And now Gladys has come along, state level. She's gone. She got done for corruption. Boyfriend out there with a shooting gun. You know, Janet Wagga. Mooloolaba Railway Line, now Chris has been waiting for this one. Mooloolaba Railway Line used to make $22 million a year. Nicky Greiner said it doesn't make any money. $22 million a year. And passenger seats alone from Mooloolaba to Central. Not Mooloolaba to Casino, not Mooloolaba to Lismore, not Mooloolaba to Byron Bay, not Mooloolaba to Coffs Harbour, not Mooloolaba, Newcastle, Broadmeadow, whatever. All right? Just simply straight through to Sydney Central number 1 platform, right? Because they were cardboard tickets and they were printed directly to where they were going, right? No ifs and buts. None of this tap on Opal card, which is now a quicker way of reading statistics. Now they're ripping up the Mooloolaba Railway Line from Mooloolaba 5 kilometres down to Stokers Road at Dunbible. Now, if you know your Australian language, we use different words. Dunbible actually means New Bible. That's the name of the town, New Bible. So if you're religious, I'll be insulted too. Do you know what Rail Trail is going to do? This is the beauty of it. Tweed City Council got $13 million. Then off Gladys, and have been passed on eventually through the chain of command to do from Mooloolaba. This is what people missed. You still got the old railway line. Past the sign says Mooloolaba Airport that goes out to Condom. They've still got the railway track sitting out there since 1910. All the ballast and all the rails and all the old sleepers and the spikes sitting there in the grass. They're just going to clean them up. Hey, Rail Trail, Tweed City Council, why don't you go and clean them up? You got control of that whole section of track. Why don't you go and clean up Condom back to Mooloolaba and spend another $3 million and get rid of that 2 kilometres of track and let people on their push bikes ride from Condom into Mooloolaba? No, you won't. You let them ride along Tweed Valley Way because you want to make the big grandiose thing. You get the leader of Rail Trail. Get this. This is what he's done, people. He's gone out and he's come one of the big bosses. Now his name's down there on my channel somewhere. I can't think of it, right? Somebody can come in there. What's the name? Guy leading rail trail at Moolumbar. If you come in, put his name up. Name and shame on this channel. He's now stopped leasing his shop in Malimbai or it's a street opposite where Coles is in Moolumbar. I've seen it. Push bike shop. He had his name up on it. It was green, I think, off memory. Went past doing about 30 k's an hour. You know. I said, oh, there's his old push bike shop. He's now over in the railway station in the old first aid waiting room where I used to sit 30 years ago waiting for the train to come in. He's ripped out all the seats, everything else, put in a coffee machine, put up his table and chairs. And he's got all his $700 push bike sitting up there. And the guys there said to me, oh, we haven't sold a bike in 4 weeks, but luckily, you know, we're not paying any rent. Now, COVID-19. Wouldn't he be getting a federal or state subsidy like all these other businesses? Or we'll pay you money to keep your employees, to keep your shop open during the big pandemic for the last 2 years? Has he declared he's now living rent-free in a railway station? ICAC, I hope you're listening to this, ICAC. Has he declared it? Is he still claiming the money for COVID-19 pandemic, like all these local corner shops down here did, and all those shops around Marrickville that went broke, and all those thousands of people lost their work? Is that fair? And now he's got the bulldozers coming in, take away all the rails, all the sleepers, all the ballast. He's going to put in his little rail trail. Well, mate, if he takes out all those railway lines, I hope he takes out every single bloody one. And do the state a favour. Because if he leaves one railway line in Moolumbar Railway Yard, I'm going to be the first bloke up there saying, man, what a bloody scam. He only took out the main line. Because he's got to take it all out. The former Liberal, National Party Vice President of the Liberals, right, the said coalition, you must take it all out. You must take out everything, every single rail, every single sleeper, every single spike, and every bit of ballast. And they've got 13 million bucks. And they're only going from Moolumbar train station as far as Stokers Road. And yet they've got the railway line for 31 kilometres of rail, which is actual fact. Now, you want to know how good I am? Moolumbar train station's mileage marker from central number 1 platform is 935 kilometres to the north side of the old platform underneath the new platform. And then the platform still carries on to 935.500 kilometres from central. Not playing around with the dumb bastard here, mate. I know my mileages. That's how railways work, mileages. And their mileage is a boundary point, which is 174 kilometres down to Crabs Creek. 910.174 kilometres is their boundary marker. Crabs Creek, most northern creek. Well, if I'm wrong, it's going to be longer, isn't it? Because that's the most northerly bridge of Crabs Creek. So, okay, let's knock it back a bit. Let's say 909.000. So they've still got 36 kilometres. And how much are they ripping up? 5. If that. See, because it's 931 kilometres off memory. I'm not looking up a book. I'm going off memory. 931.085 to Dumbible Creek, the big railway bridge at Stoker Siding. which is on the other side of Dun Bible. You've got Stoker Siding Road, you've got Dun Bible, and you've got Stoker Siding. That's the boundary, Stoker Siding Road, on the railway line. There's the railway line. I'm the guy who walks the train tracks all over the state of New South Wales. I'm the guy who done it. I've got all the mileages. I do on top of my head. Get out and look at my channel. I say, I don't carry a book. It's all in my head. So where's the other money going to go to? What's going to happen? Why aren't they building a rail trail over the Dun Bible Creek on the Stoker Siding side? How are they going to get the people when it gets down to Stoker Siding and they go through Stoker Siding and they've got one steel railway bridge and they had a wooden one and then council took it away? Oh, I know. They're going to ride their push bikes and go, ah. And then on the other side, they're going to climb up the dirt and 6 foot high lantana all the way up to the tunnel. And then they're going to go around into Burringbar. Now, I just loaded up a video behind me, Mr. Homewood, on this channel. Wollongbar to Byron Bay Railway line. Get in and have a look at it. You can up all the bridges, see how wide and clean it was. And that used to make $11 million alone just on seats from Wollongbar to Central. That's not counting the goods, the freight, the parcels, the cars on the train, the meals, first class sleepers, right? Parcels, man, they're great. Now, this is what the Gold Coast Motor Rail used to do. Now, this is Kerry Neil Battersby. And it's a little bit hard for me to do this, so pardon my rough setup. You got the idea? You think $11 million today? No, I'm talking about $11 million back in 1979, 1980. So what would it be worth today, people, if we didn't have a worldwide pandemic? Wouldn't it be worth about $40, $50 million a year? And then we go stick a stinking rail trail on it and give some guy a free accommodation, free shop. Let's have a look at where are we? Here we go. Gold Coast Motor Rail. 12 years ago. Same guy, Neil Battersby. Now I'm going to let it warm up. Here we go. $1970s. There you go. That's That's Bangalore. And the same bridge is still there. Introducing North Coast Overnight Express. That was one freight train. Now let's have a look, see how big the train was. Oh look, it actually employed people. Now that just goes to show I am right. The last time those rails were changed was 1970. So now people don't know, that's the round head of a rail. So it should be round like that. Top of the rail's round. That one there is broken. You can see where it's been, the head's come off. Now these are wooden sleepers, but today they'll be concrete. Now, while I'm talking to you, I'm going to stick you back up there. I'm going to find the one I really want to find, and then you can see it for yourself. There's nothing worse looking at this camera on a side view, right? Nothing worse. Oh, this one you've got to see. This breaks my heart. This is what they do now. See that last picture? Can you see it? It's got a block of wood over the rails. Now look what's on the train. That's Neil's father. That's a barring bar. A bungalow, sorry, bungalow. That's Bar. Right. See that there? That's where I stood there the other day. See the trains in the background and you see the guys washing the car? Right? Guys had jobs. Now let's go over here to my channel. Now this is me filming up there in Bar the other day. I do. So now we've got the Byron Bay solar power train, which is a former Richmond train. That line, get this, it's not only allowed to go to the level crossing in the Byron Bay train station. They had to build their own station because the mayor, the council, mayor, unbelievable. It's been 100 years working as a railway. You want to know how much research I do on trains? There you go. You see that? That's the old Sydney Street Directory. But anyway, I'll keep on track. Byron Bay Suffolk Park. Look at the amount of cars. Yeah, me had a time out. Here we go. Moolumbar. This is Moolumbar today. Now you just seen the guys washing the car, right? This is the same railway yard. Somewhere. Right? And I call this Nick Griner's sex toy. You Gladys Berejiklian's sex toy. Yeah, because they all screwed the railways. Nick Griner, you screwed the railways. There's a cactus, mate. That's for you, Nick Griner. That's Gladys' sex toy. Sorry, no, not Gladys. I should say Nick Griner. Nick Griner. That's his. That to me is a Nick Griner sex toy. Do you like the local sense of humour? What this was, see that piece of wood just there? That's where the car carrier used to come in. Right. Why do you think it's shaped like that? Exactly right. The carriage would roll in there with cars on it, couple onto that so they wouldn't move. They flip the steel tray down on that side of the piece of wood, and then the car tyres would run down off there. And then over here, see these big bolts? That's where the big car ramps were hooked up. and the two big ramps went down to there.
Oh,
And they
look,
come
we've
all
got a
the way
shopping
down to
trolley
here.
there now as a train. Oh, that's great.
A big concrete slab. And then they drive up to here,
You recognise it?
and this was a wash bay. And this is where the guys would be standing wearing their stubby football shorts, washing the cars of the steam engines. So there you go. So you know everything.
Right. Now, you want to see what it did look like again? See that bit again? Exactly the same spot. Exactly where I just stood. But I was trying to explain to a young guy, 37 years old, and he couldn't get his head around it. That's my Wollumbar. And there's the train in the background. So thank you, Neil Battersby, for that. NEALEBATTERSBY. Neil Battersby. That's his videos. Right? He's also got Wollumbar XPT. He's got brief history on the railways. He's got a lot of stuff. So if you want to go down and see Neil Battersby, I don't mind showing you what's on my TV. I've got nothing there to hide. There he is, Neil Battersby. Lest we forget, yes, he's a patriot, right? Adventures for Barry M. Now, Barry M was a young kid with autism. So Neil went and filmed these trains for him. He's been to Peru, Ecuador, Mexico, East Asia, India, Egypt. This is just Neil Battersby. There's his name up there. You can see it. Right up over the top. NEALEBATTERSBY. Now, he also ran the mini railway there at North Casino. He made up his own animation, what it should be, 48-159. And a tribute to New South Wales Government Railways 48-48. Right? He'd done major rail disasters. Now, this is the one I want you to watch. Now people say there was no tourism on the Wollumbar railway line, right? That's not the Wollumbar railway line. Right, all you smarties out there go, yeah, I know what that is. That's the border loop. Yeah, right, yeah, we all know that. Nick Griner's famous train, XPT. You know why I don't like the XPT? I went on it. Now, that is Cemetery Road, North Byron Bay. Can't get through there now. 6 foot high full of lantana. That's on its way to Mullumbimby as a tourist train 20 years ago. So look, they weren't even doing any track maintenance. There we go. Bangalore. Now, this is a tourist train 1 or 2 years before the line was shut. Right? A tourist train 1 or 2 years before they shut the line. You watch how many people get off this train. A 2-car train. I think it's 2-car. Yeah, it looks like 2-car. Might be 3. Can't tell. I think it's 2. Rail motor number 1, number 3 from Patterson. Thank you, Patterson Rail, for saving our trains. Now, this is Bangalore where I just went. Camera sitting on the platform, obviously. Neil's not holding it. But see the problem? This is what Nick Griner did. He didn't modernise the railway stations. They did the big State Rail Authority didn't do what the New South Wales Government Railways used to do. Now you think, hang on, State Rail Authority is New South Wales Government Railways. Look at the amount of people. Number 7. There you go. Look at this. Look at the amount of people. And they reckon rail trail is going to bring more people than a train. I don't think so. I've driven that train. Yeah, when I was 12 with my father, I actually sat in that carriage, in that driver's compartment. I sat there. See? Timber, steel, timber, steel. I can see it. Can you see the steel rail back up there? And there's steel. Oh, look. That's the last thing that goes through your mind if you get run over by a train. Now that's Bangalore. That's heading back down to Byron Bay. Now look at the guy standing there. Look. He's loving it. So's the girl. Now this is strange today. This casino of a night. 8 o'clock at night is dead. What you don't know is when they had their fun, the government, I actually went through court for this. I'm going to let the kid out of bed. I went through court for this just to prove a point. They used to have Moorbar, you can run trains around. You go to Stoker siding, single track. Burring Bar had a loop line, which I'm going to key it up now, which I'll prove the point. And they used to pass another train there at Burring Bar. And then they had, sorry, not looking at you. I've got to watch to see what I'm doing. They had Burring Bar. There it is. You go and watch this. It's called the Casino Run. Type it in. The Casino Run. Neil Battersby. You'll see it and it comes up and it's got the big. It's down on my channel. Go down and have a look. Neil, I've done a copy of it. He knows I've done a copy. He doesn't care. Right? Because this is it. You want to have a look? I'll take it down so I don't spoil it for you. This is it coming into Burring Bar. Right at the end of Burring Bar, Neil's cut a little bit short just as you come into the station. And then the next one starts just leaving the station. Right? So you'll see there's a goods shed, a station office, and cattle ramps or whatever else, and the whole works railway station, but you see the 2 tracks, right? So this is us going for a train ride into Burring Bar. See those bridges there? Oh, we'll tell you about them in a minute. That green fence is still there to this day. Look at that beautiful countryside. You're going to tell me you're going to rip up all that ballast, all those rails, all those sleepers. This is still under Tweed City Council. This is what they want to rip up, people. And they reckon it's going to pay to have people on push bikes. That's Burring Bar. I'll do it again. I missed it. That's Neil. It was. Yep. Let's see if I can catch it. I've got to work opposite on the TV screen. I'm holding the camera, so this is not really the most easy. See the second track? That's Barring Bar. That's it. I just do it back about. See if I can catch it. There. See? That's the station masters. That's the station. There on the right. That's the railway station. Sorry, there's the railway station down there. So there's a platform. You can see it. Right. Now, what I'm going to show you is, pardon my Mr. Puppy Dog. Don't worry about my Mr. Puppy Dog. Yeah, we're on live stream. Anybody out there want to say hello? Come on right on in if you're into trains. And where's Barring Bar? Just find your Barring Bar. There, look at me doorknob. You don't want to see a flicking camera in front of your face there all the time, do you? Where'd I put it? Oh God, somebody's taken it. Here we go. It's Billy Nudgel. There's Moo Ball. Oh, there we go. Tweed City Council, Byron Bay, mileage marker. You want to see it? I'll get back to Barring Bar.
We're down here at the Tweed Byron Shire Council boundary. I'm now standing in Byron Bay Shire. And that over there is Tweed City Council. And there is Crabs Creek. And on Google Earth is the Tweed City Council sign out the front. And there is the railway bridge, rail trail thingo. Now,
I say thingo, rail fail, right? This is my video. Here you go.
How to get the mileage marker, so I'll come back to you.
I got to climb up that. I'm 60. There we go.
There we go. 910.174. And the number is peeling. So there's a 4. There's a 7. Because the top of the 7 was just fell off.
Hang on.
Oh, there's the top of the 7 there. There's a 174. 910.174. So it'd be 50. Let's say that.
I should say 910 150. I'm going the wrong way. I'm thinking in my head I'm going the other way.
Exactly.
910
Back to
150.
central number 1.
There's the creek.
See you later.
That's their boundary.
What I do for you railway people? Yeah, damn good. But you get paid double for nothing.
So don't say I don't know my crap. Now you want to know how good and cozy it is, what I eat on the yeah, you like that one there?
Right, hello. Now, any of you English writing letter sort of people.
This is not the word dumb Bible.
Dumb Bible.
I think the left and Stoke Siding on the right. There's so you can see the railway fences. That's the old gate to the railway station.
Scots, yes. D-U-M-B-I-B-L-E. Dumb Bible.
You know what dumb is, don't you? In Scottish Gaelic?
No, what is it?
New.
New Bible. Well, that makes sense because if you're out here, because there's a new railway line,
Yeah.
and you said this house used to be the post office.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So if anybody knows, now when you look at it this way, but 3 fingers there
The library.
and 2 fingers there. Anyway, that's a
You or the end? That's what I want to know.
We know it is. Right? Now, you want to see how comfortable it is now to ride on a train? This is why I take my own lunch. Hello, you hominoids. Yeah, here I am. How you going? Yeah, I'm Mr. Hominoid, so call everybody Mr. Hominoid, right? Like a bag of chips. This type of chip. Crinkle cut. Oh, yeah, I got $3. Huh? $5. They get $1. Oh, that. So, that defeats the purpose of everything else I've done. And this is what I've done. So this is what I'm going to. Now, this is what I do when I catch a train. Is that I take my own dinner. Here we go. That'd be it. Anyway, right. How do I survive on a train trip without wasting my money? A, bring yourself a little town. Because you're not paying for a sleeping berth. Well, this here's the bed. And if you pay for the bed, you're entitled to a towel. So I bring my own towel in case I just want to wash my face and I take a soap. But also, it's very handy to put over the top of your ship. If somebody comes along, they don't see what you got. Camouflage. It's the army of it. Right. First thing, my recycled milk bottle I showed on the live stream. Now, what's this? I froze it the night before. That's still frozen from there down. I put that in the freezer. So there's already enough milk in there for me to go make another cup of coffee. So that's exhibition one. Now, I could be silly, put it over here on the windowsill, but it could slide off and it's glass. So I'll set that down on the floor. You can see that one in the fence. This is the appetite. Well, this is the one that went rich, right? You can't really use spare waste mask. Yeah, I won't tell you that little secret in case it turned the fuse off on me. What I do is I do this. I recycle. Now that's a Vegemite. What colour? No, Vegemite's black. That's brown. That's coffee. That's my Nescafe. Because I don't like drinking the train's brand of coffee. It's too strong. It makes me sick. And they charge you $5 a cup. I'm going to be here for 10 hours. So there's enough in there to make me 10, 15 cups. See the money I'm going to save. Okay, there's your milk. There's your coffee. There's your cup. Yeah, because I've got the weekend next to him. And he's going to Maxwell or something like that. I can use this cup and he can use the brown one. I just wash it out in the hand basin next door. I've got my sugar. There's another glass jar. There's a tartare sauce jar that's been in the fridge. And I finished that on my. I think you got the idea. Now, this is how I beat the high price. They want to charge me $15 for 2 little slices of beef, roast beef, and a spoonful of mashed potato, and 3 beans. Yeah, 3 beans and 3 bits of carrot. Three beans and 3 bits of carrot that big, not whole carrot that big. $15. No way am I going to pay that. Would you pay it? See, I've been every right. Hang on. Now this is what I do. I go and do this. Just get back onto myself. Just go find it. A little magic secret.
when I pick it up is that there it is. I get into IGA.
Good. And they have these
$2.
chicken pieces. Now this one here is chicken tender,
$2.
pure meat, right? $3.83. And I went for it at 5 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, price reduced $2. Probably 1, 2, 3, 5. $10 worth of pure meat. No bones, no bread, no grizzle, just pure chicken meat. And then
There you go. That's $14 worth of pure meat. Now, if I bought their meal, I'll get plastic knife and fork, no bread, no butter, 2 slices of beef, roast beef about this big, a big spoonful of potato, and a couple little bits of carrot and peas and beans. I know who's dumb. You are for buying it on the train, on the XPT. The XPT is what killed the railway lines up there to Moomba. Now, the other thing, what I said I went to court over was, I was going to show you Barringbuck, that's right. What they did is they took out the railway station at Mooball, which was not a passing line, and when I went to Barringbuck, some Bible, where is it? Somebody hit it on me. Hang on, just gotta find it. Sorry about the delay. I'm looking. That's Mooball. That's Moomba. That's Byron Bay. That's Billy Nudgel. 930 kilometres away from central, north of Sydney. No, that's done Bible. This is what they're just about to rip up. Have I got the camera up the right way? That's what they're about to rip up. It's 1 in 4 steel. Yes, the XPT ran over it, the Gold Coast Motor Rail, and you get over it because it's steel. It's got nothing to do with the wood. Cow patties on it. Oh, look, it's a politician. Yeah, there you go. Wait up, I'll put you back up there the right way. I'm just trying to find Brunswick. I lost Brunswick. I have one there at Brunswick Heads. Oh, Barringbuck. That's it. Here's Barringbuck. I'm thinking the wrong one. BATTERSBY. And it's a casino run. It shows Moomba to Barringbuck. Sorry. And in the video, it stops just there. So look, Locals is now used as a walking trail. She's getting away. No, she's a local. They know there's no more trains. So instead of walking down the road there, going all the way out there, they walk up there and then they cut across there.
They don't have to go spend all the other bullshit. So look at all this big, beautiful ballast. Look at all this. There's been no trains on this since 2004. Now, if you go that way, there's no bridge at Stoker siding, and it's all isolated.
And you know why there's no railway bridge down there at Newball? Because the National Party member owns the house and the property either side of that railway bridge on the north side of Newball. And he was sitting in the Newball pub there one night and said, "Oh, we said bloody get rid of that bloody bridge." And then all of a sudden, 9 o'clock at night, the bridge catches fire after he leaves the Newball pub. The Boring Bar Fire Brigade, just up the road from Newball, over the hill, doesn't get a phone call until 9 o'clock the next morning after the bridge has slowly been burnt down. But isn't it funny how a National Party member lived either side of that railway bridge made out of wood? As you can see on the Neil Battersby's video, part 2, and you leave Boring Bar and it comes around the corner and there's a wooden bridge and a big steel one. And then there's a wooden one. And all of a sudden, that wooden railway bridge just happens to burn down. Political sabotage. That's all it is. There's small mines. There's, oh no, they won't reopen the whole railway line now. Well, really what he's done, he's backstabbed Rail Trail. Because now we've burnt the bridge down. Rail Trail's got no way of getting people through there. So now Rail Trail's got to stop back at Stoker Siding. Because when they come down over that Stoker Siding road, into Stoker Siding, they're going to go out on the road. And then when they get down further, they're going to go down on the road. They're not rail trail, they're road trail, not rail trail. Because they also, Tweed City Council, got John Holland to take out the timber bridge on the south side of Stoker Siding. Screwed themselves again. And then when you go around the corner there to Boring Bar, like I just said, and you get the other side of Boring Bar, the National Party member, he rail trailed again because he burnt the bridge down. That's not illegal. I'm scratching my arm. It's itchy. Look, I've got skin things. Look, see, I'm itchy. And then you go to Mooball. Well, how much money is it going to cost to put a rail trail in there to Mooball? To one pub. And the Mooball Roadhouse used to be a massive roadhouse when that was the Pacific Highway. But now they built under Nick Greiner the motorways from Sydney to Brisbane. Mooball's over there. The roadhouse is, they does locals. Couple of people passing through. Oh, yeah, we'll stop and have a hamburger. Oh, memories. We'll go in here. Oh, darling, remember when we sat here 30 years ago and this was the Pacific Highway? We had coming in a romantic holiday. It's still there. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can find
4 in 1 track.
see,
Follow it? Right.
4 and 1 steel sleepers in the track,
Wait,
but it's isolated.
right.
So you can
Yeah,
honestly
you
say
know
that's
how old the
going
track
to be
is. How
pretty
would you know?
safe there for a while, because where they're going to get the money. Now, let's say the Liberal government gets kicked out of office. What am I ranting on about? I reckon we should start up our own party, not a Liberal party, not a Labor party, a railway party. GUNR, Governments Unused Network and Regional Railways. Or Governments United Network Regional Railway Party. I think that sounds like a good name. What do you reckon? Governments United Network, which is Sydney metropolitan area, Newcastle, Wollongong. That's network. Regional, which is country. Party, the GUNR party. Gonna do it. Gunr. Gonna do it. Because what Nick Greiner set into motion 40 years ago has absolutely destroyed it. I was talking to Rex, 72 years old. He said, I'm in Wollumbar out of Stoke Siding. He said, I can't go anywhere. I've got to ride my motorised push bike into Wollumbar. And he said, I can't even go to Tweed unless I park my bike somewhere and I don't know where to park it where it's safe. They're not going to get a bus and then go into there. But then this is if there's no coronavirus, people, if there's no coronavirus, even years ago. So he said, what I ended up doing was giving people money to drive me in. If he had to go to Coolangatta, if he had to go to Surfers Paradise Southport Hospital, he'd have to pay people to drive him because he was 65 back then. It's not fair. And you think, oh, Stoker Siding, where's that? Well, it's south from Wollumbar, up the old Pacific Highway, up the Tweed Heads, and then you got to go right up there into Queensland. You're talking about over 100 kilometres. So how much petrol money are you going to want off him? And your time sitting there waiting for him? How many people are going to do it for a 72-year-old or a 68-year-old? Irish descent. Not knocking him because he's Irish, but he's got no family. Who's going to look after him? My proposal is Gunr party would bring back, reinstate the railway line. I don't care about legislations. They're written by corrupt politicians. And don't tell me they can't be. It says the railways have right of way and they can build over anything they want because a train runs on rails and the power of gravity. And it's got to go that way because it physically can't jump off the rails and drive down a tarred road, and the train driver doesn't have a steering wheel like a car. So therefore, the train has right of way. A lot of people forget that the railways in this country built this country to put your steak, your food on the table. So imagine if it was like New York City, that movie, and they turned it into a prison. And everybody was stuck in there and you couldn't get out and get food. You're going to remember your bananas come from Wollumbar. Your sugar comes from Wollumbar. Your apples come from Batlow. Your cherries come from Young. Right? Your wheat and grain that you make bread with come from way down the south. Right? Griffith, Leeton, all the big wheat fields. Up the northwest, that's where all your cattle, your beef come from. Tenterfield, places like that. Moree, that's where all your lamb chops and your beef and everything else comes from. I know, I've been there, I've seen it. Open your brain, Sydney people. We need another political party to keep the rat bags in line. Liberals, Labor, everybody else. I rang up my local Labor member. I helped her, no names, when she started out 8 years ago. She was sitting in the local community centre. I hope I get elected into politics. I hope I become a Labor member. I want to do all this for the community. Yeah, I'm jumping up and down. Yeah, it makes the TV shake. I know. It makes me astronomically white. And I said, right. I said, you're on the Penrith City Council. And she said, yeah. She said, right. So then I go to a meeting of the Labor Party at Mount Druitt 3 months later. She's there. I'm there to support her. And I said, this other guy, who are you? He said, I'm running for Labor for Blacktown. I'm on Blacktown City Council. Now, this is typical politics. I said, oh, do you two know each other? He says, yeah. I'm Blacktown City Council. She says, yeah, I'm Penrith City Council. Oh, now I've got you both here together, one-on-one, face-to-face. I said, what about building the Currajong Avenue from Mount Druitt to St Mary's? Your two Currajong Avenues, go and look it up. One's in North St Mary's and one's in Mount Druitt. And it goes over Ropes Creek. Not South Creek, Ropes Creek. Oh, she says, we've already allocated the money to building the bridge, but Blacktown won't come to the party. Blacktown turned around and said, we've already come to the party. We've already allocated the money, but you won't come to the party because they want to argue, where's the halfway mark? Where's the logic? They're both Labor. They're both in Labor government right now. And they both said it should be built. Has it been built? No. And they're both not city councils responsible for it. These two now politicians couldn't sit down together and say, hey, let's join the Currajong Avenue with Currajong Avenue, Mount Druitt to St Mary's. I've actually had both sitting council members 8 years ago, Penrith City Council, Blacktown City Council, sitting there, no joke, that far apart, and they both argued about where the halfway mark was. But they allocated the money 50 years ago. 50 years ago. Nothing gets done. Now they're both in opposition. Blacktown and Penrith. Go and look them up. Write them an email and say, why didn't you build a Currajong Avenue when you're both sitting on the respective city councils? Why didn't you go and build Currajong? This is what I mean. Because now they get the money in the pocket. I rang her 3 times. She won't return one phone call. Not one. They won't talk to me. Don't want to know about it. Too hard. So if you're going to take the bite out of a politician, you've got to get in there and join up there with the politics and come in there as the third party and do what the independents did to the federal election many years ago when you had 3 independents held the government to ransom. And they said, we're not going to say yet who we're going to vote for. We want to see who's going to kiss our ass the most. Remember that? Wilkie and the other 2 guys. And the Australian federal government come to a standstill because they wouldn't say who they were going to back, Labor or Liberal, because they were sick and tired of the bullshit. So what if we had a GUNR party gonna do it? We're going to do it. You know what we should have done? You know why all these issues, railway lines across Australia have died? Because they're going to do it. They were going to do it. They were going to join now defunct Moree to Inverell. They were going to join Inverell to Gunr to Dorrigo and keep Dorrigo to Glenray open. They were going to join Barraba up to is it Atunga? Somewhere it's in between Moree and Inverell. I can't think of the name. No, not Atunga. On top of my head, can't think of it. Barraba railway line, north of Tamworth, that died. Then a guy built a railway line tunnel from Golgong to Muswellbrook to get his mine, to get all his coal over to Newcastle. Built his own railway line from Golgong to Muswellbrook to go from Golgong mines over to Newcastle Harbour. But the railways were running down from Binnaway to Golgong, down to Mudgee, and then Mudgee right down to Wallerawang, in through Lithgow, come over the Blue Mountains, down into Sydney, and it's called the Mudgee Mail and the Cootamundra and all those places. Oh, not Cootamundra, Canamble. Right? All those places. Narrabri and all them had to go down through Golgong. Unless they cut across the top and come over down there through Werris Creek. Why didn't the railways build it from Golgong to Muswellbrook? It took a private mining guy. He's now sold it up. You all know him. He's a guy called Brian. He's a guy who owns the Byron Bay solar power train at Byron Bay. He owns the big resort there. He sold up his mine, millions of dollars. He said, I'm out of this shit. Because then the government then turned around and said, well, they used to run, they say, oh, we're not allowed to run passenger trains down there through Brian's tunnel. What a load of crap. What a load of bloody lies. You go down on YouTube, you type in Muswellbrook to Golgong on the rail motor. It goes down through the tunnel. Now they won't let him go through there because now they say environmental and they've got to wear drivers and guards, or the two drivers in a freight train have got to be qualified to wear oxygen masks in case the locomotives break down, going down through the tunnel, downhill or uphill. Well, if it broke down, doesn't that mean the motor's going to stop? Oh, then again, I suppose, if a wheel comes off, well, that's different. Well, if that's the case, why don't they do what they're supposed to do when they originally electrified it right round there to Newcastle City, and they built the extra freight lines outside there of Maitland for the coal wagons? Originally, it was planned to be electrified to Dungog. Hello, Dungog. Yeah, it was originally planned to go from Broadmeadow out to Maitland, right out to Patterson, right up to Dungog. It was also planned to to Scone, electrification to Scone under the former Labor government way back in the 1975, 1978s, way back then when they were electrifying. No. You're full of crap, Mr. Holman. You think so? Go down and look at my video, Bowen Fells. Anybody know where Bowen Fells is? Go to Lithgow. Go have a look. I'm busting the seam right of it. You go to Bowen Fells, you see two overhead wires on two train tracks, one platform, and it goes right out until the bridge or the back road out on the western side of Lithgow. So you electrification all the way to Lithgow, and then still electrified outside of Lithgow, right round to Bowen Fells, goes past Bowen Fells train station and comes right up to the bridge, and then it stops, and that old concrete road. Geez, I'm dumb. You know what that old concrete road is? It's the former Great Western Highway. I made a video on it. Go and have a look. You see Tony changing the tyre on the car. It's a video next door to it. It's the original Great Western Highway before they built the motorway, because Nick Groner wanted all these motorways. From Lithgow, where the 7-Eleven is on the right, and then you look through the trees, you go to the information office there at Lithgow. Why do you think the information office is way out there, Bowen Fells? Because it's on the motorway where everybody comes out from the city. People are not going to drive into Lithgow to go find an information office. They want it out on the motorway. So they put it out at Bowen Fells. Right across the road there from Bowen Fells train station, which is electrified, which has never had one single electric train ever stop there. And that was electrified back in 1978. Waste of taxpayers' money. Why was electrified all the way out there, you say? Because it was meant to be electrified all the way out there to Wallerawang and then get electrified out to Bathurst. That's right, Bathurst. That's why you got the two platforms at Bathurst. You still got the tunnel underneath. It's supposed to be electrified out to Bathurst. Because that is the, wait a minute, no, I won't tell you yet. I'll tell you why. Now, how many times you caught a train down to Kiama? You think, oh, because it's the unfinished railway line. They electrified it down to Coimbra, where the Coimbra blowhole is. And what do you got to do? You got to get off and get on a diesel train, and you go from Coimbra to Bomaderry to get to Nowra across the river. You then got to get on a railway bus or a local bus and go over the river. But did you know the railway line used to go over to Nowra? What? Yeah. There used to be a railway line, used to go out of Bomaderry next to the island over to Nowra. And they took it out. How's that for a sad sack, eh? Bet you didn't know that one. I got the records of it. You just come right over there into Nowra and pick up from a dairy and the produce yards and all the factories. But they never built a Nowra railway station. So when they electrified it, they said, quick, piss it off, get rid of that bridge. Electrified it down to Coimbra. And because the train driver said, hey, I don't lose my job. I'm a diesel train driver. Where am I going to go? So I said, all right. Won't have a rail strike with ARU and the NUR railway unions. We'll leave you Coimbra to Bomaderry. And then the government got smart and they changed the state rail to what it is today. It's now a corporation, which means a union can't interfere, which means in 1996, ARU, Australian Railways Union, and National Union Railway Union was dissolved. Go and look it up, Google it, Wikipedia. It was dissolved. They went defunct because there's no more government railway because there's now a corporation. And that's how they got rid of the union, NUR and the ARU. So why then didn't they electrify it from Coimbra down to Bomaderry? And why haven't they built it across the Nowra? Don't you think the people in Nowra need a railway line? Don't you think the double-sized population now of Byron Bay, Mullumbimby, Murwillumbah, Casino, to Lismore, to all those other little towns, Binnaburra, and you really think I'm that dumb? How many Binnaburras are there? Well, actually, no, I'll rephrase the question. How far away is Binnaburra Railway Station, New South Wales, away from Binnaburra in Queensland? It's just over the border. You didn't know that, did you? Yeah, there's a Binnaburra in Queensland, just above Binnaburra in New South Wales. It's an Aboriginal word. So even the Crow agrees with me. It's worth squawking about. I didn't plan that. Hey, I'll give you $5 later, Mr. Crow. Right. You see the point? Why didn't they ever join up the Tumbarumba railway line to the Batlow railway line? It was planned in 1886. It was meant to be the Cootamundra around the Gundagai, around to Gilmore, into Tumut, and out to Batlow. Batlow Apples goes through Batlow Apples yard, and that past the back of the Commonwealth Bank at Batlow, which is all good, past the old concrete railway station, which has been bulldozed, which I still have a photo of. And then when it comes down, it's supposed to follow the Snowy Mountains Road and come in the back of Tumbarumba, to join up with Tumbarumba and keep that alive and come back around out to Wagga Wagga. Think about it. It's all downhill all the way around. And then they come up the main southern line. So they go the height of Tumbarumba, which the height of Batlow, down to the lowerness of Tumbarumba. They pick up all the apples. And then go into Tumbarumba. They pick up all the timber. And then they meant to come out Wagga Wagga and go down to Melbourne, Port of Melbourne, or Sydney, Port Kembla, or Newcastle. Back in the day when they had all the big, timber mills. Again, gonna do it. They never joined it. Gonna do it. They also had a railway line that used to run out the south. Used to go from Rodo and cut across. And I'll let you work out where that one was. They ripped it up. Yeah, from Rodo, come outside of Broken Hill, go to Rodo. They're supposed to cut down, or did, used to get in, old Jock, 78, got photos of Rodo turntable being the day they took it out. And it used to run down to Hillston. Join up with Hillston. Now it's a disused railway line and comes way back in there down the south. Go and look up Hillston. I think it's Hillston. Yeah, Hillston. I've been down there for years. They took that railway line out. Now they're saying, oh, what happens if there's a flood? How are we going to get a train through from Broken Hill? Because they ripped up the railway line. What they're doing now, they're ripping up Moomba. Queensland government wants to put a railway line in from Queensland where they've been built from Robina. They've already snuck down the coast. Stand on my channel. You're going to build in the Tweedheads in the Coolangatta Airport, New South Wales ground. Then use the federal land under the federal government on the freeway and come down next to the freeway right down to Billy Nudgel. Billy Nudgel, which is then outside the Tweedheads City Council jurisdiction, so about half a kilometre of their train track, as they call it, their train track, which I've already said they're not going to use because going as far as Stoker Siding, because there's no bridges from Stoker Siding to the other side of Stoker Siding, and then the other side of Burring Bar, and they're not going to go to Mooball because it's too far. People won't ride their push bikes that far, so it's going to become an obsolete piece of railway line. So the motorway is going to come down and come in at Hulls Road, Hulls Road. Come in there through the railway tunnel, come down to Billy Nudgel and build a terminus. And then buses there, and people can come down from Brisbane, Gold Coast, whatever, go to Billy Nudgel, then get a bus, go to Ocean Shores Resorts, Brunswick Heads, or whatever else they want, right? All around that little area, Possum Creek, whatever. Yeah, there's a town called Possum Creek, believe it or not. Yes, Possum Creek. And then go down, and then go down to Mullumbimby. Sorry, Possum Creek's out there from Mullumbimby. That's right. It's back of Mullumbimby to Byron Bay, and Possum Creek's down the south of that. That's right. And then you come down there to Ewingsdale, Niagara, back into Byron Bay, and then run the Queensland train right down to Byron Bay, because all the Queenslanders go down to Byron Bay, which means, hello, what's now going to happen to Byron Bay solar power train? But shouldn't it be fair that if Queensland gets the grip on New South Wales infrastructure, shouldn't Queensland then take it right through to Bangalore? Because all the people of Bangalore will come down to Byron Bay. So that's still a big money town. But when you leave from Bangalore to go to Lismore, it's a long way. And not many people leave Lismore to go to Bangalore. They leave Lismore to go to Byron, but they don't go to Bangalore. But then later on, they can build it out to Lismore. And then Queensland Rail can build up the casino and come in there where the coach comes in. And it's just, hey, how are you going to do that? Well, go and look at the photos. Go and get on Google Earth. Casino train station's got two warnings. One where the XPT comes in, like I showed you in the previously. Then on the other side, it's got the other warning where the coaches pull up. That's where the diesel trains used to run from Wollongbar to Casino. That is a platform where the buses pull up. Same as what they did at Riverston when they took the diesel trains out from Richmond to Riverston in the old dock platform. They just took out the train tracks and all the railway stuff, took away a set of points and filled up all the dirt and turned it into a car park and put in a fence at Riverston. I've got it on my channel, Riverstone. Go down and have a look. You can see it. You can still see the white line where you used to get off the train. It's now got a white fence and a car park. Where the cars are now sitting beyond the white fence, they used to be railway line way down there. It's the same thing there at Casino. Used to come in there, the diesel train would come in from Moorva, come in there like that. People get off, walk over, and get on the train from Brisbane, the Brisbane Express or Brisbane Limited or whatever. That's what they used to do. Then the Nick Greiner comes along and says, no, fill it up. Made a great big car park and run the buses in there. But the awning's still there. Go look at the awning. It's the same awning on the other side. It's the original awning of the new casino railway station, because the old casino train station's down around the corner. So how about some of you politicians out there all get together and form yourself a new party called the GUNR party. You're going to do it. Give back the people casino to Moomba railway line and do what you're meant to do, like it was planned in 1886, and build it like already half did up to Condom, and then reopen it up to Tumbulgum, around there to Chindra on the Kingscliff side. And then when you come across the Tweed River Bridge, like in my video, down there on the channel, you've got the head of the bridge all over the Tweed River this big, and the freeway's this big. That's the railway corridor. And everybody sees it, but nobody sees it. They look, but they don't see it. It's there. It's the railway corridor. It's been planned to go ahead. And then it goes straight across there, and then you put a station there. Use your brains, you dumb bastards. Listen, you dumb politicians. Listen, planning guys and all you other idiots. You want people to stay in New South Wales, spend the money when the coronavirus gets lifted, or do you want all the money to go overseas? People are not going to drive on a motorway with one rest area, Maitland, then the next one south of Coffs Harbour, and then nothing all the way right through to Brisbane, except for the one at Chindra. And even then, they've got to get off the motorway. No, they're just going to keep going right over the border. See, it's just cut your own throat with, oh, we're worrying about the motorists because the old Pacific Highway used to run round and round and round and round, round and round and round, all the way. Pacific Highway, if you're too young to understand, Pacific Highway was the main highway up there through the North Shore of Sydney, Chatswood and all the rest, right? That was Pacific Highway. Then it ran up to Cowan, and then it ran down underneath the motorway now, and then it went down through Gosford, Wyong, YE, all that was Pacific Highway. Go and get a street directory out, Pacific Highway. And that's why the railways made a lot of money, because that road went down there through the back of starts with B. I'll get it in a second. Right? Budgie, and it goes up there through there. The old Pacific Highway. It used to go up and around the hills. And then the Pacific Highway, when it got to Bulladila, it used to come over through the hills down there past the wild bloody horses, the Brumbies, then come over the bridge into Bulladila and then turn right and go out through Bulladila. And everybody says, oh, yeah, it's a nice great big motorway there now. Oh, yeah. There's Bulladila, you get a mountain range. And you come into Mount Bulladila and you go around this way now on the motorway. You don't need to go into Bulladila. You go like that. And the old Pacific Highway used to go into Bulladila. People had jobs. So this is, again, freeways have killed the towns. Even though there's no railway line there, it still killed it. I was talking to a woman there. She said, I remember you from 20 years ago. She still works in the same petrol station. And then when you come out of Bulladila, it used to go up this way, up over the back road. That was the old Pacific Highway. You used to go up over the Bulladila mountain ranges. That's the old Pacific Highway. You used to go up over the mountain ranges. And then you come into Taree. Right? But now it's a great big round motorway. And you can sit there and do 110. I remember driving my 10-ton, 12.5 metre long house bus. I was up there in second gear. It used to take me 5 hours across the mountain range. And then when they opened up that motorway, I went around there doing 110 fifth gear or 100 k's an hour all the way around. I thought, man, what a difference. But what I didn't think of was the poor people in Bulladila lost all their jobs. See, again, motorways kill country towns. You go to Taree, you look at the unemployment records there. You look at Kempsey, look at the unemployment there. You go to Fredericton, look at the unemployment there. The local pie shop at Fredericton at Norfolk Kempsey used to have cars lined up along the Pacific Highway, going there buying meat pies because they left Sydney. Oh, somebody go and have something to eat. Not now. It's all gone. They're out in the motorway. It's all dead. Freeways kill towns, and they also kill railways. And then if you don't join the railways up, now imagine this: you leave Sydney, and I caught a plane back from Ballina to Sydney by plane for $89, but I had to get a lift by car all the way from Wollongong. So that makes $110 by the time you count fuel and the guy's car go back. Now, what say I offered you a train ticket in a sleeping berth with meals included back in the day, which was $30 back in the 1980s, which is now be $100, and a bed from Central to Coolangatta. And you get off at Coolangatta Airport and meet up there with the Queensland train. And then you can walk over and get on the Queensland train and go into Brisbane if you wanted to. Or get on the Queensland train and go to Robina, Broadbeach, and all the rest, Surfers Paradise, whatever. Or get out and catch a bus from the airport. Because the railway station, Queensland, there's Coolangatta Airport, Queensland Rail's going to come right in next to it. And then we bring our train up and we put it right next to that. And they've got their bus interchange right there, Coolangatta Airport. When the coronavirus is lifted, got to think ahead, people. Got to think ahead. Don't think right now. Think ahead. Wouldn't it be nice if you're a Sydneyite and you want to go to Byron Bay? You got to go to Ballina and get a rent-a-car. And that's how much a day in insurance? There's over $100 a day. Or would you rather have it that you can fly to Coolangatta, right? Because there's no railway station in Ballina Airport. Fly to Coolangatta Airport, walk out 300 yards, get on a train, New South Wales gauge train, express, see beautiful Moomba. You can go to Moomba, Tumbulgum. People say, what's this bloody Tumbulgum? It's a famous place. It was on TV commercials where the ferry goes across and the guy does a GIO insurance ad. And the roller door goes up about 20 years ago. Tumbulgum and the Condong sugar mill. That's that sugar mill you always see in the TV ads. You see a sugar mill. That's Condong. It's not somewhere else. It's Condong because it's the clearest, easiest photograph sugar mill. Condong. That's the one you see in all the TV ads around Australia. That's it. And anything to do with something in the background or come out to Australia, visit Australia, you see a sugar mill. That's Condong. It's always Condong. Morillon goes right past underneath its conveyor belt. Yeah, the big conveyor belt goes right under it. So imagine you went from Coolangatta Airport, round to Chindra, you get up there, go to Kingscliff, big enough ground there, you catch a bus from Kingscliff, Cabarita, Boggangar, Hastings Point, Pottsville, all those new estates, the new estates out there at Kudjura, along the back of Kudjura Creek and the beach. Right? Go and look it up between Kingscliff and Cabarita. Beautiful spot for a railway station. Then on the other side, you can have a train station on the north side of the Tweed River at Benora Point. Right? And then you got the Benora Point Caravan Park. I bet he'd love to have it. Because he's lost all his business. Because the people go over the motorway, they're going to go all the way in the South Tweed, turn around and come back, come up over the mountain, and then come back down to find him. He died in the arse. It's the same place when you used to go over the old Pacific Highway, where the bridge used to go up and down there at Benora Point, Chindra, and you used to come across, there was a BP petrol station, and the people walk across over there to the caravan park, and they go and stay in the caravan park, because that was the Pacific Highway. Well, imagine if you put a train station there, plenty of room, anywhere you like, swing it wherever you like. People go to Benora Point, They can say Bradora Point Caravan Park or another railway station on the other side of Chindra. They go to Chindra Caravan Park. It's got 3 great big huge caravan parks, Chindra. But all the people from Queensland go there because New South Wales people don't want to go there. It's too far away. It's too far to drive the caravan on the motorway because everybody's doing 110 k's an hour and poor old grandpa is too scared now. Back in the day, when they had the Pacific Highway, you had rest areas and truck stops and meat pie shops, and you could pull into a town and you can work your trip. You could take your time and get somewhere. Not now. It's all rush, 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 rush. Mate, I'm too scared to drive up the M1 motorway. I'm only 61 and I was a cab driver and a truck driver. Unless I'm driving my truck up there, I'm not going to get on the bloody motorway. I've seen these idiots go past doing 140 k's an hour, police cars chasing them, because that's all the motorways are done. They brought out all the frigging lunatics. It's not safe. Bring your railway line back. Casino to Moolumbar, take it right through to Tweed Coolangatta Airport, and you watch how many people get on it. Even people coming down from Queensland are going to come down on the Brisbane Queensland Rail, change over Coolangatta, just walk across the platform, the same you do at Strathfield, the same as you do at Parramatta when you want to catch a Leppington train. Oh, that's right. You forgot about that too. Let's change the subject again. Gladys Berejiklian said she designed the railway line to go from Glenfield to Leppington. Bloody lying bitch. It was drawn up in 1886. I got the diagram. Glenfield wasn't even called Leppington. No, it was no such thing. Right? And then it come out there to Badgerys Creek and was meant to come into St Mary's. And then from St Mary's, it was meant to go to Ropes Crossing out here, which are now demolished. They ripped up. It had electric trains out there, double-decker electric trains to Ropes Creek. Go and look it up. Train driver's view to Ropes Creek. And now it's called Ropes Crossing. No train, 3 narrow roads to get out of, and all these people can't move. If it wasn't for the pandemic, it used to be traffic jam after traffic jam after traffic jam. But they used to have a double-decker train there. And I tell young 20-year-olds out there, oh, you know, that used to be the train station. Oh, yeah, that's just some sort of thing they put up there in the park. They made up the Ropes Creek train station. They just think it's a make-believe railway station. Let me show you again. I used to work at St Mary's. Where is it? What are I doing the bloody thing? Really? See? Riverstone, St Mary's, Sydney Metropolitan Relief. And then I resigned down to King's Cross. I know what I'm talking about. Look, St Mary's. I used to go out there. I used to pull the signal levers out there when my father was on the goods train. Get down my channel. Dynamite train in St Mary's. Go on the phone, ring up St Mary's signal box. Catch Dad out of Dunebbit. The guy, the station master at Dunebbit said, "Hey, Ralph, got to go back to St Mary's. I left a carriage load of dynamite." Dad said, "Oh, shit, that's my son." Dad got his locomotive, come all the way back out here, come across the train tracks, over the suburban, up, over the main up, over the down main, over the down suburban, went into the siding, into the St Mary's goods shed, grabbed a load of dynamite, clack, and then took it out, right back out to Dunebbit. And then there's a video just down there on my channel. I actually show you a map, a 1970 Gregory Street directory, where Christie Street come to a dead end. It's only the railway line. There was no Dunebbit Road going to Warrington County. There was none. It's on my channel. Get in and have a look. It shows Piermont Bridge Road, Piermont Bridge in Sydney. You watch the video. Then I'll go out to St Mary's. and I did the story at there, and people don't believe me. You said, no, it's always been Dun Abbott Road. No, it wasn't. It was a railway. It was the army base. There was no such thing as Dun Abbott Road. They call it Dun Abbott because it came out of the son of. They call it Dun Abbott Road because it came out of the suburb of Dun Abbott and went over there to Northern Road. The same as like a lot of people don't work it out. Why is the road called Richmond Road at Kingsford train station on one side of the train tracks, and why is it called Bringelly Road on the other side of Kingsford railway station? Because that was a level crossing before they built the Park Street Bridge. Because that was the road to Richmond, so they call it Richmond Road. That was a road to Bringelly. That's why it's called Bringelly Road. Because the railways used to carry everything. And the Great Western Highway was still basically 1932 wooden spoke wheel trucks. You think they're going to load up 100 tonne of freight? You think they had Woolworths? You think they had Coles supermarkets? You think they had Westfield? Mate, I mean, Westfield, he wasn't even born. So how about somebody come up there, mate, send me a comment, send me an email, mrhominoid@gmail, and we get a new political party started called Gunr Party. We're going to do it. We're going to put the state back on rails, piss this Indian buddy driverless tram off out of the country, and put back Australian-made, New South Wales-made trains, not Indian-made, Chinese-made, Spanish trams that fall apart, cracking up already after a couple of years. Go on, you Gladys. Berejiklian. She's Spanish? No, actually, I think she's from names from the Serbian countries, all those sorts of things. But not being racist, but I think that's where her name comes from. I don't give a shit. I like Gladys. She's done a lot of bloody good things. But there's one rule. A politician doesn't know anything about trains. They're politicians. And that's a cut and that's a meat on the bone. Right? Do you see a politician working in a bakery? Do you see a politician as a brain surgeon? Do you see a politician as a high school teacher? Who whinges at the politicians? The medicals, the school teachers, they whinge. The fire brigade whinge. Police whinge because they're politicians. Why are politicians politicians? My grandmother used to joke, you know why politicians are politicians? I said, why is that, Grandma? They said, because they haven't got enough brains to get any other job. That's why they're politicians and they're all corrupt. And she said that to me back in 1975. When I was 15 years old. Get on your granny. She's dead now. Go on, politicians. Go and try and sue her. She's buried in the ground. Politicians are always corrupt. Look at Gladys. She made, I don't like corruption. What'd she get? She resigned. Corruption. Nick Greiner. Corruption. Neville Wran was the only guy I know that never ever got done for corruption. Unfortunately, Neville Wran got stuck with the Granville rail disaster because the Liberal government before wouldn't change the railway sleepers underneath the Granville Bridge, and the termites ate it out, which caused the train to derail. Everybody blamed the train driver, and then they found out it was termites because the former government, Neville Wran, only just got into power, Labor, see, because the Liberals took away the railway commissioner. When he was under Commissioner of Railways, he'd actually get in a carriage and go down the train tracks. The Commissioner of Railways had his own train. He used to travel over the whole state. He used to go to Burke, he'd go to Broken Hill. Oh, that's right. The train station in Burke. That's right. We don't have a train there anymore, do we, people? We don't have a public train to Binnaway. We don't have a public train, sitting train to Cobar. You're going to catch a bus. See what I mean? You can't catch a train to Tumbarumba. You can't catch a train to Batlow. You can't catch a train to Tumut. You can't catch a train to Jerilderie. You can't catch a train to Hay. You're going to sit on a coach for 16 hours. Now you know why people are catching aeroplanes. Rex Airlines, mate, they're making a killing. Look at Rex Airlines. As the COVID lifted, Rex Airlines, mate, they were flying interstate. They were flying everywhere. Rex Airlines, they made a fortune. Whoa, they're the quickest, smallest little airline up and running before the big boys could get their big jet engines going. Remember that on the news? They said Rex is flying to Brisbane, flying to Melbourne for a little while, and then they're flying all over the state, and they're running people out to Dubbo and out to Burke and out everywhere else. Rex Airlines are flying around everywhere. They're like bloody mosquitoes, like now the Ross River mosquitoes up there in the northern rivers, because the railway line's closed down. There's no one up there to clean the drains. And all the people around Moolumbar, Stoker Siding, Mullumbimby and Byron Bay are going to have Ross fever because they took the railway line away. There's no one up there to clean up the gutters. And all the mosquitoes, Ross River fever, is are in the northern rivers because that railway line goes through the whole lot. It's just not the railway line that's causing it. It's all the other creeks as well. But still, it helped if the railway line was open and the drains were kept cleaned, you let the water get away, and then there'd be no mosquitoes. Practice makes perfect. Do your homework. Remember the rules? So from Mr. Hominoid, 2 hours and 10 minutes. I'd love to hear somebody. Should we have a new political party called GUNR? We're going to do it and get it done. Reopen up all our disused railway lines. Reconnect the railway lines, like electrify Kiama down to Bomaderry. Reopen from Casino to Coolangatta Airport. Piss the push bike trails off. They don't make any money. They cost the taxpayer money. The railways make their own money. They charge a ticket, you pay for it, the money stays with the railways. Bring back a railway commissioner. Have a railway guy run the railways, not a politician. Have we learned our lesson yet since the 1980s? Look at the XPT. What a greatest heap of junk. British Rail. Go and look at my video. It says Coffs Harbour. Go and look at it. And I say, imagine trying to sleep on top of that. That's the XPT, mate. It's the greatest heap of shit there is. Sorry. Greatest heap of junk there is. Even the staff will tell you that. There's 25 people on the whole train, a 5-car train. 25 people. 5 staff members, 2 diesel locomotives. Where's the money going to come from? Pay for the fuel. State government, because it's no longer run by the railways. State government runs the railways. It's coming out of your taxpayer dollars. Get a look at it. Coffs Harbour on my channel. Coffs Harbour Station. See a guy getting under his bags, big yellow flowers on his bags. We'll take that one. And then listen to the train. And then you see me walk into my car 8 and I have my sandwiches and everything else. I won't buy their food. It tastes like shit. It tastes like crap. Not like today's a catchy old Boulevard Gold Coast Motorway Express. Oh, that was beautiful. Your puddings, square chunks of beef stew, or you'd have mince, or you have lamb, you can have a steak, potatoes, 5 different veggies, jug of milk coffee, ice cream, milkshakes. You had everything. And if you want to see one of those carriages, go down to Thirlmere. The same carriage I rode in as a kid is down there at Thirlmere Railway Museum, a buffet car. And you walk in either door, and you'll see you walk in, and then you'll see the really long table. And it goes around like that. And you walk around there, and you sit on along the stools, and the staff are behind it, and they've got all the cooking gear, the milkshakes, and everything. It's all still there. It's in a museum. And yes, I should be in a museum. But I'm not thinking about me. I'm nearly dead, dumb bastards who want to be nasty. You're stupid. I'm trying to think about your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids. Okay, put it this way. From this date, 5th of December, 2021, 1:30 p.m. When the freeways open up and there's a car crash on the motorways between Sydney and the Gold Coast, say, oh, there's another death because it's a motorway. Whew. What was his name? What was that guy's name who used to talk about the future? Come on, you know him. It's called the quickening. Everybody goes too fast. The quickening. Nostradamus. He said the quickening. Everything's going too quick. So let's form a new political party, Gunr party. And basically, it's going to be finish up all the old railway lines that should have been finished, put back the railway lines that have been closed down, finish building the electrification of Bathurst, finish building the railway line back out to Mudgee, and then put the proper bloody electrification right out to Mudgee and electrify it from Mudgee to Golgong and put a right-hand turn set of points in so electric train can go underneath that Golgong tunnel out there on the way out there towards Denman, or whatever they want to call it, right? You're really pushing my brain, aren't you? And then go out there and come out to Muswellbrook and electrify it to Muswellbrook. People of Muswellbrook, would you love to have an electric train that went from Muswellbrook down to Mudgee, right round down to Lithgow, right back down to Sydney, or Muswellbrook right back down into Maitland and right back into Sydney? Electric train, so you wouldn't have to drive? Wouldn't you like it? And you're a pensioner, $2.50? Because that's what it's all about. When you get your pensioner card, when you get over 65 and you get a pension card, right, you can travel. You mind? Just my dog annoying me. Right. I didn't hurt him. No, just in the back of your ear. Do you know the boundaries of your New South Wales pension card? Or your weekend ticket? Yeah, you, Joe Brown, got the wife and kids. You know you get a Saturday for $2.50. Do you know the boundaries of it? You think, oh, you know, I might go down to Sutherland, I might go to Cronulla. No. You can go from Bathurst to Central to Scone to Dungog to Bomaderry to Menangle Park, Goulburn. You want me to go around the clock? I'll go around the clock this way, right? Bomaderry, right? Bomaderry, back up to Coima. Goulburn, way down past Campbelltown. Bathurst, 1,000 on there today. And then through Wallerawang, but it won't let you go around to Mudgee because the line's shut. Then when you go north, you go to Newcastle. Then you go out to Dungog, up past Delara. And then you go up as far as Scone, past Muswellbrook, past the end of the Putty Road where it goes to Singleton. Then you've got Muswellbrook. Then you've got Scone, which is virtually 2/3 the way to Tamworth. For $2.50. Right, let me put another way. You can travel from Bomaderry, Southern Illawarra Railway Line, on a Saturday for $2.50 from Bomaderry to Scone, 450 kilometres for $2.50. See what I mean? The railway lines aren't finished. If they're all electrified, you could get on a train at Nowra, electrify it, build the bridge, go to Bomaderry, electrified train from Nowra. You can then go all the way through Kiama, all the way up into Central, then get on an electric train and go all the way right up there to Scone. For $2.50, can you drive your car for that? That's what I say. Gunr, bring back the government railway party. Bring a government railway party to help yourself, to help your kids, help your grandkids, or when you get old. Oh, okay, you're 30, 40, 25, 30, 40. That's what I thought too. I'm 61 now and I've got no knee joints. Do you think I can drive? No, I've got to get my train. See me video on the train. That was agony. Why do you think I flew back with Virgin Airlines? I couldn't handle it. XBT, it's too bloody uncomfortable. Nothing to eat on the bloody thing. No buffet cars. Tastes like crap. Well, from me, Mr. Hominoid, goodbye. Thank you for your 2 hours and 20 minutes. GUNR. I think I still got a GNR address. Just write down to Mr. Hominoid. Mr. Hominoid at Gmail. If you want to get into a political party, for the time being, we'll just use Mr. Hominoid at Gmail. Tell me, would you be interested, if you're a politician, would you be interested in forming a railway party to screw over the Liberals, the Labourers, the Independents, the Greenies, Sex Party, Shooters Party? Just have your say for the people. Hang on, wait a minute. The people are there to serve the politics. The politicians are meant to be there to serve the people because it's our taxpayer dollars that they're spending. The politicians are meant to serve the people. Not we, the people, serve the politicians. We, the people, got to suffer to the politicians. Are we meant to, oh, yes, almighty Premier. Oh, yes, almighty opposition leader. Oh, yes, almighty whatever. No disrespect to any religion. I don't kiss no politician's ass. I spit on it. But even then, I give them. Yeah, that'll do them. Have a joke. We'll give them some of that. Polydent. Seal them up. Yeah, I know I've got no teeth. So what? That's the problem about being a pensioner. Nobody wants to hear you anymore. So from Mr. Hominoid, goodbye. Thank you. Think about it. Politicians, let's form a party. GUNR party. Government, United, Network, Regional, Railway Party. That's it. Gunr. And you're going to do it because you're going to do it because you're going to grab them by the and hold them to ransom. Don't give them your votes until they start opening up these railway lines. Hey, you know what else I found out too? Victoria has got rid of all the narrow gauge and made himself majority of it. There's only 16 kilometres now. I think it was 16 kilometres. Go look at my previous video. New South Wales railway gauges. Victoria is now standard gauge. Yes, Victoria. Everybody used to say, oh, no, it's narrow, broad gauge and narrow gauge. There's narrow gauge around Melbourne and broad gauge out in the country. No, Victoria now is all standardised gauge because Victoria freight is coming through New South Wales. So they changed all their train tracks to match up with New South Wales because now they can run all their freight trains through New South Wales. Oh, and if you're not mechanically minded, here's a locomotive. You got a broad gauge or a narrow gauge set of bogies, right? You don't throw away the whole train. They pick the train up on a crane, they wheel out the bogies, 3'6", 5 foot gauge, 5 foot whatever it is, right, broad gauge, and then they have 3 sets of rails, 3 rails and 1 rail, right? And then they bring in the standard side gauge, and they bring it in, put it underneath, and then they just carefully slide the locomotive out, drop it on the pin. So that broad gauge locomotive or narrow gauge locomotive is now a standard size gauge locomotive. That's why how Victoria didn't lose all its locomotives. Pick it up on a crane, change the bogies. The same as when the wheels wear out 3'6", they're going to put new 3'6" gauge wheels on. No, they took the 3'6" out, lift the train up, wheeled them out, wheeled into 4'8.5" the old scale, so you understand, and drop it and slid it over, got a dead center, put the pin in, and away they go. Very simple. Nothing hard about it at all. So for Mr. Hominoid, I hope I teach you something else. God bless. Good love you. See you later. Mr. Hominoid at Gmail. I want to get a political party started called Gunr Party. Let's get our state back on rails. Let's start building our own trains. Let's get rid of all this Chinese crap. Let's get rid of all this Indian crap. Let's get rid of all this other railway crap. We used to make all our own carriages, steam engines, locomotives, passenger trains, passenger carriages, sheep wagons, cattle wagons, container wagons, everything. We used to make everything. Water wagons, concrete wagons. We used to make everything ourselves. Let's bring employment back to New South Wales. Let's get our young blokes, our young people a chance to be able to say, hey, I'll work on the railways, and walk into a bank and say, hey, can I get a mortgage? And the bank's going to say, yeah, you work on the railways like they used to. I could have had a house mortgage way back in 1977. I walked in the bank and said, hey, can I go and get a house mortgage? The guy said, how old are you? I said, I'm 17 and a half. He said, as soon as you turn 18, you're working on the railways. He said, I'll give you a mortgage like that. He said, I'll let you go buy a house. Just show me 2 pay slips, just so I know that you work on the railway. He said, you're in a government job. You're set for life. How wrong he was. You see any station masters anymore? No. What do you see? You don't even see railway staff on some stations now. There's nobody there. See? Politics. Railway workers. Bye. So that Mr. Hominoid, at gmail.com. Shall we start up a Gunr political party? And let's get our state back on wheels, on rail, and employment and jobs and creativity. And let all these young geniuses work out how to put Wi-Fi in train carriages instead of getting a heap of shit, red shit from China, which is parked up at Lithgow. And they had to expand the tunnels up there at Lithgow. It cost us more millions of dollars because Gladys didn't even check the size of the carriage that she bought from China with this Wi-Fi and all this other stuff, that big red and black thing. Go and have a look at it. It's on YouTube. Gladys's new train. During the pandemic, when everybody's locked in, she had to rebore all the 10 tunnels from Clarence down to Lithgow. You didn't know about that, did you? It cost you millions of dollars, taxpayers' money. Because she didn't do her homework. She didn't find out the size of the train carriage that it would not fit through a tunnel. And she bought a whole bunch of them just to run up to Lithgow, and they didn't even fit. Man, no wonder I said to her she should sit on that bloody cactus plant up there at Moolumbar. See you later from Mr. Hominoid at gmail.com.